Hey all, T is back, and we have a lot to cover in this video. And before we get into it, hit that subscribe button, give this a like, let's get into it. This video is going to apply a lot to parents with gender non-conforming youth. And I'm saying gender non-conforming youth as opposed to trans kids because truth be told, I don't believe there is such thing as a transgender child. Even an adult that transitions later in life, that's a decision that should be carried out in adulthood, not in childhood. I will be presenting and reacting to two voices in this video. One that I stand with very strongly, that being Scott Newgent. I'm a huge supporter of Scott Newgent. For those of you who don't know who Scott is, Scott was born Kelly, and at age 42, they were convinced that they were really a male trapped in a female body. Their therapist had convinced them that given their strong personality, that they were really a man, as if women couldn't be strong. And Scott now advocates against transitioning youth. And we will also be reacting to Michelle Forcier, however you say her name. I know I probably said that really bad, but honestly, I don't give two. Be nice. Keep it classy. Anyway, I will be presenting testimony from both individuals who both starred in the Matt Walsh film, What is a Woman? Now Scott sees that Scott made a mistake in adulthood. So imagine all the children that are making this mistake in childhood, and that they're going to grow up and say to their parents, to their teachers, to the adults in their life, I was just a kid when I made that decision. You allowed this. You didn't stop me. We will be reacting to Scott's testimony, and I also strongly urge you to check out Scott's channel. I will be putting their information in the description box. I will say I do believe children need to go through puberty. They need to develop naturally, as nature, science, and God intended. The voice that I'll be sharing that I disagree with is Michelle. Here we go.
Telling that family, based on that little penis, that your child is absolutely 100% male identified, no matter what else occurs in their life, that's not correct.
Yes, it is correct. Yes, it is correct, Michelle. This is where I feel like in today's world, some of these doctors are not actually doctors, but rather activists. They're taking their activism and bringing it into their professional lives, and they're trying to push these agendas. Oh, if you're born with this set of genitalia, you don't have to spend the rest of your life as that gender. Anyway, let's continue.
So medical affirmation begins when the patient says they're ready for it.
When the patient says they're ready for it, meaning the child. That is very scary. If you would have taken little 6-year-old me and said, are you ready to become a boy? I can't. I really can't with these people.
So that could be a kiddo who is just starting puberty and panicking because they're getting breast buds or their penis is getting bigger and busier and they're worried about all kinds of masculine changes. And that way, puberty blockers, which are completely reversible and don't have permanent effects, are wonderful because we can put that pause on puberty. Just like,
no, we can't. There's no such thing. You're halting a child's development.
One of the drugs used is Lupron, right? Which has actually been used to chemically castrate sex offenders?
You know what? I'm not sure that we should continue with this interview because it seems like it's going in a particular direction.
Of course she doesn't want to talk about it. These people are so ingrained in their ideology that if you bring up anything that contradicts that ideology, it's like, oh, we have to silence you. You can't bring that up. Like, they're the gods of gender. Like, seriously.
Direction.
Well, you're a medical professional.
I am a medical professional.
So you don't want to talk about the drugs that you give to kids, or?
Again, I'm a physician and I use medication. You're choosing exploitive words. Drugs I give to kids.
I'm choosing a
chemical
word that was in a dictionary.
That's not a correct term for puberty blocking.
I could look it up on my phone, but I'm pretty sure if I looked it up,
you can look it up on your phone.
It says medical definition: the administration of a drug to bring about a marked reduction in the body's production of androgens and especially testosterone.
And of course she doesn't want to hear that. Parents, I am talking to you when I say this. If you ever find yourself in the office of such a person and they walk around talking about that they're a medical professional and that you have to basically worship every word out of their mouth, I would check out other resources. Some of these people, as Blair White once said in one of her videos, I can't recall which one, they're so open-minded, it's like their brain fell out. And that's basically what I see when I look at this woman. And I would check out resources such as Scott Newgent, who is coming up, and we're going to react to him, as well as websites such as statsforgender.org. They are a really great website, and they have a lot of information on there on detransition, on fertility, on ideology, the truth about medical transition, a lot of information on hormones, and so much more. And it's information that you won't find in the mainstream media. And also pubertyblockerssuck.org. There is a lot of great information on these websites. On pubertyblockerssuck.org, they actually mention that Lupron is known to thin out bones, and a lot of these trans advocates that are advocating for transgender youth, they don't want to hear information like this. A person like myself is supposedly transphobic because I don't want to see what they would call a trans child have their bones thin out and all the other negative side effects that these kids are going to go through. Yet, these people think they're the gods of gender. They don't want to hear anything that opposes their ideology. I have to say, Scott is a great speaker. He spoke out against Lupron, and you could find a lot of information if you subscribe to his YouTube channel. He has many great stats and facts on there. And let's react to what he has to say about Lupron.
Puberty blockers are not merely a pause button. In fact, the corporation that's telling you puberty blockers are safe, that generates and produces all that puberty blockers that they say is a pause, it doesn't hurt, in 2003, they were sued by the U.S. government, deemed a criminal enterprise for false advertising and bribery. Market research predicts that gender-affirming care will generate more than $5 billion a year in less than a decade.
Did you hear that? $5 billion a year in less than a decade. Say it louder for the people in the back.
The truth is that medical transition is experimental, dangerous, and it doesn't cure anything.
Did you hear that?
In fact, your question, there's only 7 studies that stated that medically transitioning children is beneficial, and every single one of them has either been modified with not enough time or participants, or, oops, we were sorry.
Exactly. And I had actually learned and been educated a lot through Scott's content. I had never realized, in fact, that all those studies that they show parents, that they give these parents of supposed trans kids, those studies have all been modified. They're misleading. And these are the studies that you're given if you go to a gender-affirming office with your child.
I underwent close to $1 million worth of surgeries and hormone therapies to change from Kelly to Scott, a trans man. And then I almost died in the process.
And where are these radicals in moments like this? When individuals go through the negative effects of transition, it seems like it's often pushed under the rug. Do trans rights not matter then? This shit really pisses me off, honestly. These radicals, they'll go crazy advocating for the right to transition, and then once something goes wrong, it's like they fell off the planet. They no longer give a fuck. And I really wanted to keep this channel classy, but...
And I certainly have cut many, many years off of my life. In fact, I probably won't live long enough to meet my grandkids because I still, to this day, get recurring infections. Nobody knows why.
It's experimental, and these doctors, these activists, these extremists do not want to admit that it's experimental. Yes, parents, I am talking to you, and I really urge you, think carefully about where you send your kids to school. Make sure you get to know their teachers. Think carefully about who your kids associate with. There are agendas out there. There's even LGBT individuals like myself speaking out against this nonsense. And there's straight people that call such individuals bigots. There's also other LGBT individuals that do as well, but that's besides the point. I just really urge you to think carefully about the circles your child is in. Children and teenagers are vulnerable, and I say this from a place of love. And I really urge parents, and even if you're an aunt, if you're an uncle, if you're a teacher, anybody that's associated with kids, I really urge you to check out Scott's channel. Scott's work is absolutely amazing. Scott is an important part of this movement. His voice should definitely go down in gay and lesbian history. You could hear the passion when Scott speaks. And I am on the rainbow spectrum as a bi woman, but Scott is a double on the rainbow as both a lesbian and as a trans male. And I really, really urge you to listen to what Scott has to say. I really do. We need more voices like Scott's speaking out. My message is keep screaming louder, and that's not only my message for Scott, but to all individuals. Speak out about what's happening. Educate yourself on what's happening. Even the Biden administration opposes gender-affirming surgery for minors, and they are one of the most liberal administrations. That says a lot. Of course, it could also mean that Biden is trying to appear more moderate, to try to sort of get the conservatives, well, I'm not as radical as you think I am, you know, come to this side. I mean, it could be that too. I just urge you all to educate yourself on this, ask questions, look into valid resources. Don't just listen to people that want to throw this information out there to transition minors, and that they'll put you in a panic saying, oh my God, if you don't transition your kid right now, they like the color pink, oh my God, then they're going to commit suicide. We have to get them on puberty blockers right now, now. Chill the fuck out. Anyway, whether you're Republican, Democrat, conservative, liberal, in between, don't care. Again, I'm saying it louder for the people in the back. Be aware of who your children associate with. Be aware of where you send your kids to school. Be aware of who your child's teachers are. I do believe a parent has the right to ask questions, to say no if they're not comfortable with a teacher. It does not make you any sort of phobic. Those are your kids. They came out of your body, or they were created with your sperm, or you had adopted them. And lastly, I do want to give a special shout out once again to my bro Peter. He has once again helped me with making this video the magnificent masterpiece that it is. And once again, I urge you to go check out his channel. He's so awesome. And I know he has a video coming out about Atari, and I'm super excited to watch it. I actually used to play the Atari growing up. And yeah, being a 90s kid, those were fun times. So yeah, make sure you check him out. He's really, really awesome. And thank you again, Peter. I will see you all in the next video. Don't forget to check out Scott's resources. Much love to you.